So my colleague Nayanthara Rai also caught up with Rashesh Shah. Not only is he the FICCI president, but remember, he is also the chairman of Edelweiss. And she talked to him about whether there was a knee-jerk reaction to the reintroduction of LTCG and what would he say is the reason behind this weakness that we're seeing for markets. Is it related to the global sell-off or factors here at home?
I'm now joined by FICCI President and market veteran Rashesh Shah. Thank you, Mr. Shah, for talking to ET now. You've seen the markets on a free fall, but I'm guessing they're tracking global cues. It'll be very unfair to blame the long-term capital gains tax. My question to you is that going forward, if this 10% were to rise, what would the markets make of it? The Finance Secretary has said we need a uniform regime when it comes to LTCG.
See, the idea is not to over-speculate on this. I think the LTCC is a very small part of the overall budget, which has been very balanced, has looked at various needs of the economy and try to, allocate resources according to that. This sell-off is also, there is a global event, there are all global markets are selling off, markets were slightly overextended, and we have always believed that a 5%, 10% correction in the market is always norm for the, everybody tries to find reasons for that. So I don't think investors should get too perturbed. And idea is not to get too hung up on the LTCG and speculate endlessly on that. I think the idea is that we do believe that equity markets give you 14, 15, 16% kind of annualized return over a long term. So if you pay 10% of that, it comes only 1.5% out of your 15% return. So quantitatively, it's not a big one. I think maybe some people, especially the media and all, are making it a very emotional issue. But it should be a very, a very pragmatic approach to this is one more tax. We have had STT in the past and all. But overall, investors have made good money, have created good wealth. And as India is growing, as Indian corporate earnings are growing, I think investors will do well. And
but do you think we're still in the midst of a bull run because the global markets have fallen to a 2-year low? It's been their worst performance in 2 years. Do you think that this is still a bull run?
Hard to say, because the idea is not to speculate on the market. What we have always done in Edelweiss is try to look at the long-term trend of the market. And the long-term trend, as I said, markets have given 15-16% return. Markets have always been, following corporate earnings. Corporate earnings are growing at the same rate. So overall, idea is not to get perturbed, not to get too emotional about it, and just be very balanced.
So are you at Edelweiss, for example, re-rating the market?
I'm sure our analysts have come out with a report, and I think they are fairly bullish. The union budget will spur a lot of consumption, and that consumption will result in earnings growth, especially rural consumption is expected to be on an uptick.
So Mr. Shah, the Disinvestment Secretary, while talking at FICCI, also talked about a fund of funds. He talked about ETFs, etc. I saw you smiling at that. Is it a game changer for the markets, you think?
Overall, I think not a game changer, but there is a lot of innovation that has happened. In the last year, we saw that,
He also said bonus issues are the order of the day.
They also said, CPSE ETF and Bharat 22 ETF, and now they are looking at a bond ETF. So there's a lot of innovation happening. I was very pleased because I think the bond market needs a lot of innovation, and we need to deepen the bond market. The finance minister also spoke about that in the budget. So I think any more innovation on the bond market, any push on the bond market will be very productive for the economy as a whole, especially now that the economy is coming back. Corporates will start investing again, and when they need to borrow, they can borrow from the banks and they can borrow from the bond market. It will ensure that there is availability of credit and the cost of credit is also contained.
Okay, that was of course Rashesh Shah speaking with the Nayanthara Rai. He says not to worry too much about the red that you are seeing on your screen as far as the Lal Street is concerned.